Hi guys, this is Anna, and in this video I'd like to finish talking about the books I've read in January of 2017. There are 3 books in this video which I have never mentioned before, and there are 2 on which I've made a separate review video, so I will link them down below. So I'm going to start with the book I really did not like, the one I gave the minimum number of stars, and then I'm going to go towards the book I like the most. So the book which really disappointed me, and I ended up giving it 2 stars, I was kind of tempted between giving it 1 or 2. It's the book I actually requested on the NetGalley for review, because I had a completely different idea what it was going to be about. The book is called, let me find it, Murder, Suicide or Accident by Night Bernard. Night Bernard used to be the head of the Forensics Home Office unit in the 1970s, so he actually knew what he was talking about, and I thought, right, I know that he used to publish in the 1970s, I was hoping that he was a reviewer for this new edition, so they're going to talk about the modern techniques. So imagine my disappointment when I pick up the book, which came out this month in February, and it turns out to be word for word reprint of the 1973 book. I was more than just disappointed, because the science has moved on. The way the forensics in this country has massively changed, particularly in the last few years, when we actually completely disintegrated the Forensics Home Office unit. It's now given out as a private outsourcing to the companies. The court system described in this book is completely different in the country. The court system actually was reformed in the 1970s. So it's been outdated for over 30 years. I don't understand why the reviewer of this book decided it was a good idea to just reprint it. Honestly, I was a bit speechless. I had to write my review for the NetGalley and then my comment to the publisher. I was like, look, I can understand many things, but this is just plain lazy. If you're going to pick this up, you're going to be disappointed, because the book projects itself is a short summary of the forensic techniques used currently by the police. This is what I expected. Okay, this was bad enough. But then there is another thing which I don't think is allowed in the current system of non-fiction books. There are no academic references. There are no references in this book. And there are some pretty big assumptions the author makes, like he says that there is a baby being killed by a mother every single day in the United Kingdom. Well, maybe that was the case in the 1970s, but can you please cite some statistics, because there must be statistics available. Then he goes saying that most women who claim to the police that they have been sexually assaulted are making that up because they pissed off with their ex-boyfriends. Seriously, this comes out as extremely chauvinistic, women-hating. The society has moved on. The language he's choosing to use is just not acceptable to the current sensibilities. If you're making a claim that big, you have to reference it. If you're saying that most women want to make themselves look like the victim of a sexual assault, where do you get this information from? Because I can go in on stage and say, hey, I found a cure for cancer. Do I just expect people to believe it? No, I have to substantiate it. Maybe there is a scientist talking to me, but this book was written by a scientist. I do not understand it. I honestly do not understand why he thinks it's acceptable. Why his reviewer and his editor now think it's acceptable. Because you could have taken the old book, if you were lazy enough to add a couple of chapters in the end showing modern techniques, you could have at least proofread it and included the new references. And maybe included the notes saying like, okay, so he's talking about this court which ceased to exist in 1973 in the United Kingdom. It does no longer exist. My generation, I was born after 1973, would have no idea what it is unless you studied law. I found it really annoying. The stuff which was mentioned in the book in terms of how the autopsy is taking place and how we collect fingerprints, for example, or do some basic analysis of the blood and the sperm, I already knew. The cases he's referring to are well-known cases, but he does leave no references to those cases. I'm gonna try and look online if I can find. There was a brilliant BBC documentary 3-part series on the forensics in the United Kingdom, which has better explained all of those techniques, and it had a much better explanation of the cases he keeps mentioning. So if I can find the link, I'm gonna put those down below. But the book itself is a huge disappointment. Please don't waste your time. There's absolutely no need to read this book. There are much better books about medical science currently on the market. Right, so I ranted enough, this out of the way. The second book I have read, and to me it came as a little bit of a disappointment, but I think it's because I came towards this book thinking it's going to be bloody amazing, and that's The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. Everyone kept telling me I'm gonna fall in love with the book, and unfortunately it did not happen. I ended up giving this book 3 stars. I just felt that the book was too long, predictable, there were no surprises, and the second half of the book was just completely unnecessary. I wanted to fall in love with it. I genuinely did, and I absolutely enjoyed the first third. The second third was so-so, but towards the end, I started asking, is she just writing just to have a larger page count so she can publish it as a novel, not as a short story? I don't know. I didn't feel for the characters, even for the male-female protagonist, who was really well drawn actually. She was really well crafted. Same as her for her male counterparts. But I knew what was going to happen to the two of them since page 20 or whatever it is, when the father of the girl makes the decision he does. There were no surprises for me in store. I loved the way the world of the circus was described. I felt this was done really well. It was really thought through, it was really detailed, which is exactly what I expected. I liked the secondary characters. I thought they had a place. But the ending of the book was such a letdown for me, because I knew this was exactly what's gonna happen straight away. Like, maybe she should have done it, well, for my liking, but I don't like happy American endings. I don't think they're realistic and they reflect life. I actually prefer the sad ending when something just ends up badly. Or I like an open end, so I would have been happy with the open ending. But the ending we get, I don't know. I was not blown away. It's a good book. It's a solid 3-star book for me, but I know that so many people gave it 5 stars and said it was the best book they've read in 2015 or 2016. So from that point of view, unfortunately, it wasn't for me. Alright, I'm also going to briefly mention the 2 books I have a separate reviews for. One of them was The Holy Rose by John P. Burgess. I have a separate review on this book. I gave it 4 stars out of 5. I really liked it, but to me it failed to answer the main premise of the book, the main question, what is the Holy Rose? I was still left in the big uncertainty, because I still have no idea what the author actually thinks it is. Another non-fiction which I read this month, I had a separate review on, was Dance to the Tune of Life by Professor Noble, and I gave that book 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. If you would like to know more, it talks about the open system in the biology, how we can project the theory of relativity to biology, so not just to physics but to biology itself, because it's also an open system, a predictable system. Please watch my other video if you would like to know more. Which leaves me just with one book, the final book, the best book for me I have read this month, January 2017, and it was a reread, but I don't know if it was a reread or it was just a new read for me, and that is Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I have read this book in Russian, and as I mentioned, was a reread, because the last time I have read the book was when I was 16, and when I was 16 I loved the book. I really could not relate to the protagonist. He just irritated the crap out of me, and I had to persevere and read it because it was part of the compulsory school reading. Now in my 30s, I still thoroughly dislike the main character, but I get to appreciate why I dislike him so much. It's like I've reached a point that I actually enjoy disliking the main character. I love the book. I really, really loved it this time, and I think I might reread it again, if not this year, then next year. It's a beautifully written book. It is thought-provoking, and the sad crime, it's not a spoiler, everyone knows what happens very early in the book, so we get it out of the way. And in the majority of the book, I wouldn't necessarily say we deal with the punishment, or self-inflicted punishment the main character subjects himself to, but we deal with the consequences of what the person has to live with once he has committed such a deed. And I thought that Dostoevsky was absolutely brilliant, because honestly, you feel like you're in the head of a person with mental disability. You're just basically walking on the edge of the knife, like a Blade Runner. You're just walking on that edge, like you step to the left and you're normal, you step to the right and you're just in complete madness. It's this fine balancing act, and you go on a journey. And I absolutely loved the use of every other secondary character. They all had a role. Every single secondary character allows you to see the facet of the main character, allows you to project something new into him. I particularly loved the way his sister was portrayed. His sister Dunyasha, and her relationship with the married man who then becomes a widow, who pursues her. The scene they have in his room, honestly, I've read it 7 times in a row. It's one of the best written thrillers I have read, like honestly. Psychologically, it's amazingly written, like amazingly. I just cannot recommend it enough. All the dreams the main character has, every single allusion he makes, all of it comes together as a story. Like the nightmare he sees when he falls asleep, when he sees the horse being beaten to death. Like I cried more when this horse was killed when I cried when he committed the crime. Maybe because I always feel bad for the animals, like at least humans know it's coming, like they know they might have deserved it, but the animals don't. The existential question raised in the book, like, does one person have an ultimate right to decide whether or not he can take the life of another person, is really beautifully analyzed. It's really, really well written. And as opposed to the other books I've mentioned, like the one in my review, The Three Daughters of Eve, when you read Crime and Punishment, Dostoevsky treats you very much like an equal. He makes you think, and everyone who reads the book will take something different from it. There is nothing digested for you. There's lots of bits of information which you can read through and you can think about and come up to different conclusions yourself, which I absolutely loved. I have to say, I have read it in Russian, so I have no idea how well the English translations fare, but in Russian, the language was just amazing. The choice of colors, the way he chooses adjectives when he describes the characters, like each character has certain adjectives associated, which explain you the mood, the upbringing of an individual, or whether or not they're feeling sad at the moment, or they have consumed something like alcohol. It's just beautiful. I felt for Sonichka, the woman who ends up falling in love with the main character, and despite him being absolutely horrible towards her, leaves everything behind and follows him to the hard labor comes, and she sticks with him because he's horrible to her even there. And in the end, she ends up being his salvation because he finds God. At the end of the book, he finds God, and in a way, it is a happy ending, as happy as it possibly can be. I'm not sure I actually liked that ending, that last chapter, but I can see why Dostoevsky put it in. I really cannot recommend Crime and Punishment enough. That book must absolutely be read by everyone. Preferably not in your teens, but when you're older and you actually have a little bit of a life baggage to fully understand and appreciate it. So I hope, guys, you found this review useful and that you will read Crime and Punishment, at least, out of all of these books. Thank you, guys.